once you get into this Documents tab, we're gonna go and start my transaction. So don't hit that guy. We wanna hit this guy. And no more .loop. All right, so this is going to log you in to your Docusign room. So again, make sure that your accounts are synced and connected beforehand. And Docusign has been a little slow, so give it a little time if it is taking a little time to load. Just be a little patient. All right, so once we go into Docusign, it takes you into your Docusign room, okay? So these tabs are very important, and this is what we're gonna be using. So the Details tab is you're gonna make sure you want to complete this. So as long as all of this is filled out correctly, and you would do the same as if it were on .loop, you'd be filling out information. So it's important to get this completed. The Documents tab is where you can add in your documents and where you'll see them all uploaded in here. Your people, you'll see that it's the KW admin, so this is just your market center. And then you'll see yourself. The Envelopes tab, think of this as if you're putting all the documents that you need signed by your buyer or your seller into a folder and mailing it out. It's essentially the same thing. So an envelope, you're getting all your documents together and you're sending them out for signatures. Messages, you can create messages to any members in the room and the people. And then history is just the history of the room and what's been happening. So right now we're gonna start with details. So I highly suggest you fill out this as much as you can because this is gonna be what auto-populates onto those documents when you're sending them out. Again, you just wanna make sure you have as much information. You can type in the document if needed to add more information. So if you click up at the edit button at the very top right-hand corner, you're gonna make sure the address is there. And I'm just gonna fill in a little bit of information. State. Again, this is gonna auto-populate on those documents. So the more information you put, the more it's gonna go on. And again, you guys this stuff should look familiar. You can add in concessions if there's referrals. All right, so once that's filled out, you also wanna make sure that this, and I know it's kind of a funky layout, but all of the seller or buyer's information, your information will be on this, on the right-hand side. So one, I have my seller as Ashley. We have her email in there. And then if you scroll down, you'll notice that I'm the listing agent. So make sure that your email's correct, because this will be sending out to that email, all those documents. All right, so once you have all the information in there, you're gonna wanna save it. And then we're gonna go to Documents. So this is where you're going to be pulling in the contract, lockbox addendum, things like that. So if you click Add at the top, you have a few options. You can upload any documents, but right now we're gonna focus on these Docusign forms since NIFAR and FAR forms are uploaded. All right, you'll notice that there's a drop-down menu for Docusign forms and then Docusign group. So there's a library and a group, okay? If you can't find a specific document, you can look in both. So right now I'm just gonna go and stick with library. So within the library, you can see all the KW forms, which are just the Keller Williams disclosures, and then the NIFAR forms. And you should see them all right here. All All right, so I'm going to be pulling in the listing agreement, and I'm going to pull over a lockbox addendum just so I have two for an example. So once you click add, these are going to populate into that documents tab. All right, I see some messages going on. Does anyone have any questions so far at this point?
I've got the chat under control, so we're
Okay,
good.
okay, perfect. All right, so once we have these documents, again, this is just a test. I'm not really quite sure. Again, I'm not a realtor, I will say that. So you guys should know what forms you need to be bringing in and what needs to be signed and the information that needs to be on there. So right now, I'm going to just click open this listing agreement. All right, and it should bring up. So you can see that I have my name here, I have my seller's name here, the property address. This is a short sale, so again, I'm sorry. But you'll see everything that's populated on here, okay? If you need more information added, you have the ability to just click in here and type. I'm just going to put Megan's name. So you can type in the boxes if you need more information filled out. Make sure that everything that auto-populated is correct. So double check that as well. So
can I just add a comment to that, Jana? Yeah. If it does not auto-populate correctly, like it's saying the city is the county or something funky like that, we have noticed there's been a couple funny things with Docusign and that. So screenshot it. Well, first double check your details and make sure you input it correctly yourself. But then if it truly is not pulling correctly, send us a screenshot because then we can send that to Docusign and get that fixed for everyone. So yeah, just keep an eye on that.
Thanks. All right. So I have everything uploaded and done. So I'm going to save this. And you want to check every document just for that specific reason.
Hey, Jana.
Yes.
Margaret, did you say this and I missed it? If you go back to the one you were just on, the listing presentation, it's auto-populating the agent name instead of the broker name. Did you say that?
I didn't, well, I said that my name populated.
Which is wrong. It should be the broker name because the listings belong to the broker.
Okay.
And when I've been doing this, I've found that that's the case. Every time it populates my name and I have to go in and change it. So I don't know if that's something you can bring to their attention or if that's just something that we need to train on. Hey, it's going to populate you. You need to go in and change this to the brokerage.
Okay.
So Docusign just fixed the regular listing agreement on that. We had Jen send that over to Docusign to fix the auto-populate. So we just need to make sure we do the same for this document as well. Or if you notice it on any other documents, just send us a screenshot.
Okay, thanks, Megan.
Yeah.
Yeah, just make sure you're double checking again all of the documents just in case something did populate over that's not supposed to be there. For instance, your name as the broker instead of Keller Williams. So just double check before you start sending it off for signatures. So once you save this, so now I need signatures, okay? So everything should save if you've edited anything and then you click save at the top. So I'm gonna get both, or actually I'm just gonna get this document signed. So all you would have to do is if you hover over the corner, you'll notice this little bubble that pops up. You can click and then it grabs that specific document, but right now I'm just going to be sending this agreement over. So once I click this button, you notice that there's a few icons that popped up. Okay, I can copy it, I can move it, I can email it. But right now, if you look at this icon, do I sound kind of funny because I feel like I'm echoing?
Yes. Everybody mute yourselves if I can't get to you fast enough.
Yes, please mute. Okay, so you want to click on this pin icon. So this means that we're going to go get signatures in Docusign. Okay. So it's bringing me over into the envelope. So this envelope name Okay, no one sees this other than yourself. So please just make sure that you're naming it something that you recognize. No crazy names. I noticed this last night that it did take a little bit of time, so.
Wow. God, I just joined a Zoom meeting. I don't even know what I'm doing. Oh, wonder how you put yourself on mute.
Just like that, I muted everybody. Okay. There you go.
All right, well, this is not letting me do it. It was kind of being slow last night, but this envelope name, again, no one sees it other than yourself. So just name it something that makes sense to you into that specific envelope you're sending out. So as you can see, I have the listing agreement in here. You can add more documents if needed. So you can upload them from your room. So anything that you added into your room that you forgot to send in the envelope, you can add it in that way. There's templates that you can upload, and I can go over that if needed, that you can pull in. For instance, if you are working with a builder and they have specific contracts that you usually use and that are pre-signed and things like that, you can easily upload them from templates. So what you want to do is you want to add the recipients now. So there's pre-tagged roles, there's room participants. I'm going to go ahead and click pre-tagged roles just so you can see who the seller is. So that would be Ashley, and then I am the listing agent. Since I changed that, it named me Keller Williams. Okay, you can also add by email if you need to. There's just it's just multiple ways of how to add someone. It's the same thing. So you can see here that I have my seller and then myself as a listing agent. If you click this drop-down menu, you can see who needs to sign. So this means that they need to be signing that specific document. Needs to view is that you're sending, this over to someone. They do need to open up the email and view the actual document. Just because they don't need to sign, they can't ignore the email. They'll have to open it up and view it. You'll see receives a copy. This can be just an admin. So you just want to make sure that you're assigning these correctly. Then you'll notice over here on the left-hand side that there's a 1 next to both of our names. So you can have them sign all at once. So that means 1. You just want to label each one. But if I want Ashley to sign first and me to sign second, then you just label them in a specific order. And I'm going to have us sign as both. Then at the bottom is where the email, this is what they're going to see when they get sent this envelope. Okay, you can, however you run your business, they do see this. So make sure the message is clear that they have to sign. So what you want to do next, you can save this and close it if you're not ready to send it out. But what we're going to do is we're going to hit next. And this is going to bring us to where the signatures are, where we can add more signatures, where we can add initials, where we can add more content if needed.
And you can also delete. We had a question about that in chat. You can delete initials as well.
Yes. All right. So you'll notice over here, you can add signatures, initials, names, emails, texts, and things like that. If you look at this drop-down menu, you'll notice that each person has a different color. So everything that needs to be signed by myself as a listing agent is going to be in yellow. Ashley, my seller, is going to be in blue. So I'm going to switch over to her. And see, it auto-populates certain signatures or certain initials need to be already. If you don't need them, you can click on it, and over here you can delete it. Okay. So it already auto-populated. You'll see Ashley's name right there, where she needs to sign, and the date, as well as where I need to sign and date.
Also, don't forget last week we discovered if you click the sign box and drag to the left, you can drop it in the trash can there too. To the left.
Where's the trash can?
Or like move it over to the standard fields box.
Oh.
Or to your right. Yeah.
And Jana, we had another question. So transaction coordinators is, as far as we know, the best way to add them, is that going to be in the envelope, or are we still figuring out if we can add them like to the whole thing?
I'm looking into how they can be, for admins and transaction coordinators, how you guys can be automatically added to the room. I don't know if that's possible, but I am definitely looking into it. I would highly suggest just adding that TC or admin to the envelope that's being sent out and just assigning them to be copied on that email instead of needing signatures or viewing it.
Thanks.
So that way they just receive a notification that everything's been signed. All right, so now that we have all of our signatures and initials where they need to be, we're gonna send this out. All right, and you'll see that it's been sent. And these, I've been playing around with this, as you can tell. Okay, so you'll notice that we're waiting for the others to be signed. All right, so this blue banner, the blue means that it's waiting for signatures, okay? If it's a green banner, that means it's completed, there's signatures, that's all, you're good to go. And then if it's red, it means declined. I'm not sure what that means, if someone didn't sign or anything else like that, but you'll really wanna look out for this blue banner and the green one that shows it's completed. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna show you what this email looks like, not from Apple, on the agent's end. So it's gonna ask you to review the document. And this is also what your buyer or your seller will see. You're gonna agree to the terms. And then they'll wanna click start. So once you click start, it automatically drops you down to where any signature needs to be. So this will be exactly the same for your buyer or seller. So I would tell them ahead of time that when they do click start, it will just drop them down to where they need to sign. So they'll just have to scroll back up and review that specific document that's needed. Okay, so once you click sign, it'll draft up a pretty little signature and an initial. So you'll just want to adopt and sign. And then it'll automatically date it for you. Okay. Once you finish, there's no need to create a account. This is the same that .loop had as well. There's no need. So you can say no thanks, and you can tell your buyer or seller to just hit that no thanks button. And then they'll receive a message that it's all done, okay? Once it's signed, you should also receive another email, and it might take a little time to populate. But you'll get another email, the buyer or seller will, that's signing with an attachment of that document that they sign. So there's no need for you to send out the document back to them if they just want a copy. They'll receive that in another email.
Janet, okay, we got one question I just want to confirm. So, okay, so Yvonne just asked text notifications. Can we get a text instead of an email? Do you know the answer to that one?
I don't know that. I can look into that though.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know about that one. We can look into that. And then Gail, her question was, so when they create an envelope, does it save the subject line and the name of that envelope if they create a new one for the next document to be signed? I would think the answer would be no, because they're creating a separate envelope. Does that make sense?
Yes, if you're creating a brand new envelope, I would believe you would just have to go in and edit it again.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And then when they send for signatures, can they attach as a PDF like in Dotloop?
If you're sending, can you repeat that again?
Can you attach as PDF when you send for signatures? So like in Dotloop, it gives you the option to attach as PDF too. Like, so if they can't open it in Dotloop, worst case, they can print it and sign it.
Oh, got it. I'm not sure. I haven't seen, not being able to open it before. I would assume you would just go back into this document.
So like the email that it sent to you, Jana, to sign it, did it have it attached as a PDF too?
No, but you will get that email again after you sign it. I'm not sure if
Okay.
you can't open it. I would assume the agent would just have to go back in, download it, and then send it off in a normal email.
Okay, we'll look into that one too to see if there's something we don't know about that.
But then once they sign it, Megan, then you do get an confirmation email. The customer would get a confirmation email and they can print it. That's a PDF.
Yeah, I was thinking more for, because there's some people like that might have trouble doing the signature thing. And so I know some agents will attach it as a PDF. So that way, worst case, they can print, sign, scan. But we'll look into that one.
Yep, and if you need to resend it, you can, or you can correct it. I'm not quite sure what this is, but I think the email. Yeah, so if you need to correct the email, like I just need to do with Ashley because she didn't get my email, you can do that. So Ashley, once I send this, can you sign it so it looks completed on our end?
I can do that.
I just texted Ashley and I was like, hey, can you sign that document? And she said, well, I didn't get it. And, well, that's probably why her email was incorrect. So double check, you guys.
It just came through.
Yay!
So once she signs that, I'm just going to refresh on my end, and then you'll see this blue banner. It will no longer be blue, and it won't say waiting for others. It will be green, and it will say completed.
And I'll let you guys know that for me as the customer, it just made me agree to terms before I started in the blue banner. And then I was able to sign.
I just spilled my coffee everywhere. So once Ashley signs.
Okay.
Jana, after we do this, Gail wants to know, could you walk through if they were sending multiple documents for signatures at a time? So like what that envelope looks like?
Yeah. It would just be the exact same thing. You would just go through each document the same way that you would just as a single. Make sure all the signatures are there.
And I also got a confirmation on my end that it said completed too.
Yep. So, and then the agent, so you guys would get, once they sign it, you know that they, all the document has been signed. So you get a confirmation.
Yeah, and in that confirmation email where it said completed, I automatically received a PDF copy in my email.
All right, so you did see, so I have two agreements right here. You'll notice that this one's just a form, and this one has been signed. So if I go back on the envelopes, you'll notice that that's green. So I will say, because this might be a little bit confusing when you're uploading them for compliance because they are two forms. What you want to do is click this little bubble at the top, just so you're not confused sending them again, signed versus not signed, is I would go ahead and archive them. So these little icons at the top, you can click archive, just so you don't see it anymore. And then if you accidentally archived something wrong, you can go in this drop-down menu and look at either all the documents or just the documents that you have archived. And then instead of clicking the archive icon, right next to it is unarchive.
Janet, Margaret had a good question. What happens if you need to amend a signed document?
I don't know what that means.
Oh, okay. So what if, so say that they counter offer and you need to change something on the document and then re-sign a certain area, I guess.
So something changed and so you would grab that, the same signed document, and you're gonna go back to Docusign for signatures. Again, same with the email, you're gonna add the people. I'm just gonna select myself. Send the email.
Yeah, it's in Docusign, Wilma.
And then it's just gonna take you right back here. You'll already notice that signatures are already on this contract. And if we need to add in an initial or another text saying, you know, if the purchase price changed or anything else like that, you
I don't think they need to do it. I think Jana needs to do it for her market center, because I went in my market center Docusign and. Are you muted? Should be.
Oh.
Wasn't mine.
Does that answer your question, Margaret?
We'll take silence as a yes.
No, you had to take silences. I had to find myself to unmute myself.
Oh, okay, cool.
So if you're amending something, it puts the initial in there. Unlike Docusign, it's keeping, unlike Dotloop, it's keeping the old initials in there and you're just creating new initials on the same document.
Yes.
Okay. I like that better, frankly.
And then if you can look at these icons right here, I just looked and there's a line that I can, boop. Whoa. Don't go too crazy, but you can add a line.
And while we're in this editing screen, so we did have a question earlier about, so like lead-based paint disclosure or the seller's disclosure, different things that they have to fill. So when you're using pre-tagged roles and then you get to this screen, you would just add a text box where they need to fill in and it will guide them to that text box to fill in. So it's on this screen that you do that. For whoever asked that, I forgot who asked that. John something? Maybe.
Yeah, anywhere you add a field, whether that's a signature, initial, a text or anything, once you send that document and you see, they open it up and they see that start button, it'll field them down to each page where something is so that they either need to sign or see it, if that makes sense.
Could you just add a text box somewhere and then do recipient preview to show them like what that looks like from the seller's or you know, the customer's perspective?
And just so you know, I think Docusign it's a little more detail intensive for the agent, but it is more simple for the customer.
Yes. I've used Docusign to sign a lot of documents, and it is super simple on the customer's end.
Yes.
I agree with that.
So this should be what they see. So again, they'll see this start, and it's going to field them everywhere that they need to sign. So once they sign this, it'll drop them down to the next signature. Once they sign this, it'll drop them down to the next one, and so forth. Okay.
Other thing it does is if they hit finish and they missed a space or an initial, it will not let them, you know, it'll make them go back and recheck what they were supposed to initial or sign. And then they hit finish again. So it won't let them get out of it until they hit the things that the agent has told them to initial or sign.
Hey, Jana,
Yes.
would it be possible for, just as we get started, for someone like you who have a lot of experience with this, just to do a template email that we as realtors could send to our customers just with some guidance on how to use Docusign? I know you mentioned things like you don't have to sign up, for the account, what the start button does when you hit that, but just a quick little instruction sheet for our customers that we could use to send. I don't know that I have all the knowledge and would be able to, concisely state that.
Yeah, and it's very self-explanatory to the customers on their end when they do see this this email coming from Docusign. Because what they'll do is they'll review the documents. All they have to do is click this button, and I don't know if it'll. Okay, usually sometimes it expires out. But then once they hit that start button, I mean, it'll just populate down to where they do need to sign. I can draft up an email. It might be just a little bit small with explaining that.
And on my end, once I was done as the customer, clicking through the initials, and once you verify the first signature that you saw in Jana's, that it had her full name and her initial, every time I clicked sign, it just popped in. I didn't have to keep clicking like another pop-up box. And then once I was done, it gave me the option to create an account. I don't have to, but if I created that account, then it's just going to hold all my former signed documents in there.
And then something to add too, like when your customers are adjusting to a new platform, just as you guys are, just like you guys need to walk through and practice it, it might be nice, like when your customer, so say they're filling out the listing agreement or signing it, if possible, like if they're really struggling, get together with them and walk them through the first few of how to sign it. So that way you're teaching them, just like how you had to learn, you're showing them exactly how they would do it. And then hopefully then by the end of the transaction, they got it down and they don't need any help with that.
Yeah, that is a good point.
I was going to say as well, from an agent perspective, with everything going virtual, at least for the time being, and something like this, there's probably some agents out there who, quite frankly, have still gone over the contracts and things in person and done wet signatures and that sort of thing. So one of the things that I always taught the agents in the new class and that I always did myself as an agent is things like purchase and sale agreements, listing agreements, things like that. Get them out to the customers, talk about them before, because oftentimes they're going to click start. It's going to go to the places where they need to sign and fill, and they're going to go through. And I think it's important that we at least give them the opportunity ahead of time to talk about the contracts and let them understand what they're signing. I always like giving purchase and sale agreements to my sellers at the beginning in my listing presentation, just because it gives that sort of like, we're going to sell this, you need to know this contract. So just a suggestion on the agent side on that.
That's very true. Just because on their end, once they do click that start button, it does drop down pretty quickly for just any signatures or initials that are needed. So make sure that you're walking through any contract with them ahead of time so that they're aware of, what's on that specific document and what they're signing.
I have a quick question on the checkbox option on Docusign. I've used Docusign for a long time, and I had difficulty when I would try to, like I just wanted the customer to put a check beside something, and I would hit the checkbox. And it seems like all that checkbox did was make a checkbox. Do you know and then it would come back to me blank. Has anybody had any, have you tried the checkbox part of it yet?
I have not, but I can double check that.
Because what I've ended up doing is going in and putting a text box and making it really small so that they could just put like an X there. But I think there has to be a better option than that. I think somehow that checkbox is supposed to work as when it goes to the customer, they just check it. But every time I've done it, it comes back to me blank. But that's before doing it with Keller.
Yeah, I would just double check that you're assigning that checkbox to that specific person.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, I'll look into that just to see.
Maybe I was doing it
working.
myself. That may be what it is that I'm hitting the checkbox myself. I don't know. But that's the only thing I've ever had a problem with on DocuSign is the checkbox part of it.
Okay, I'll definitely look into that for you and see if we can get that figured out. All right, so once everything is in, you'll notice multiple documents that you have uploaded. Action items at the very far right-hand corner. All right, these action items are off limits. Do not leave a room. Do not close the room. Because this talks with your opportunity. And you click those, it just messes things up. So action items are off limits. So once we do, say you got everything signed, you're ready to upload them into compliance, what you'll do is you'll just want to sync this transaction. You'll want to update it. So this is why it's so important to log into Command to go into your DocuSign room rather than just logging in directly into DocuSign. This sync button is going to sync all of those documents that have been signed to come into your opportunity. So once we want to add your files for compliance, you'll want to click Add File. You can do this individually for each tab, or you can do multiple documents at a time if you just want to get them all uploaded at once. So we'll select DocuSign, and then this drop-down menu, you can see we want this signed. And you'll notice that there's two. Make sure that you see the one that is signed. That's why I'll have to look into why those are populating when I archived that one. It might just be from when I was messing around last night with this. So then you can do the lockbox addendum, say if that was signed, and then you'll attach it, and then they'll pull through. So if you click on that, you can see what you have done. Everything should be the same, signatures are there, and everything else.
Can I just add something about this step?
Mm-hmm.
So this compliance step, a lot of agents, so like on the left-hand side, you'll see she has listed selected. So there are different checklists or compliance checklists for each stage of the transaction. So like your listing docs are different than your under contract docs. Mm-hmm. So make sure that you're in the right section when you're uploading for compliance, because some people are like, oh, it didn't have a place for this. It didn't have a place for this. I can pretty much guarantee you it has a place for everything that is required or conditionally required, even some optional things as well. So make sure you double check that. And then also a way to think of this section is you're putting all of the puzzle pieces together. Okay, so this is an extra new step that you didn't have to complete before, but think about it in a way of double checking your list to make sure you have absolutely everything and that Jen Marie's not going to get mad at you for forgetting any documents. Okay, so this is going to be a lot more efficient when it comes to compliance because y'all are checking your list twice rather than sending incomplete loops over to compliance. That's all I got to say about that.
Rant over. So does anyone have any questions about either DocuSign? I highly, highly, highly recommend. Yes, we are here as a resource and for support to answer your question, but there are plenty of self-help videos. I know between Ashley and Megan, they have a great library on YouTube of tons of training videos that you can watch. I will show you this as well because I learned this way by watching videos because I was a little unfamiliar with DocuSign at first. If you go into your room and if you click this question mark icon, you'll see that there's videos, there's articles, walkthroughs, there's tons of ways that you can, get your questions answered. Or even just watch videos to learn, how to send an envelope, how to navigate your room, how to add documents. So these were very helpful. They're not too long. This is where I kind of looked and learned watching these videos.
Sorry, we have a thing in chat. So on this page on compliance, so syncing the transaction, just to clarify, it does not bring any documents over. It simply is refreshing the page so that way it'll, allow the Docusign docs you just added to be accessible. So when you're adding documents, you then click on attach multiple files, add each line item that needs to be added, and then Jen still does not see it. You then click on submit to Market Center, which we're not going to do to, confuse Jen. But if you click on submit to Market Center, that gets sent to Jen. And then any notes that come back, if you're forgetting anything, show up on the left-hand side, or I guess it can show up to you so I've seen it pop up by listed, under contract, or closed. And then you would just know what you have to add from there. And then you can replace the document or resubmit whatever is missing.
Yep. There'll be an icon right here. If she did leave a message, you can click on it. Or if you need to write her a comment as well, you can click this add comment and you'll just @ Jen and she'll pop up.
Her little face pops up and everything. That's so cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So
And the last time Jana tested this on me, it went right. I got a Kelly notification that someone tagged me in a comment. So you will also get notified through there as well if Jen were to reply back to you.
yes, and then you can also send this to any admins or transaction coordinators, that you need something uploaded or submitted. Jen sends me a message when it's ready for DA, so I can send out the DA for you guys. So it's actually really cool because I get a notification on my phone. So does anyone have any more questions about this? I know Docusign can be scary, but it is very simple, especially on your customer's end, to just sign all of the documents that are needed.
And I also just want to add a note. I know we talked about Kelly should be giving you notifications on things like that, or if you're using different, like the Docusign app to get notifications, please just make it a habit to follow up on your transactions and check your room opportunities, just in case for some reason that notification doesn't go through. We don't have control of that. So there, I'm sure as all of you have learned going through a lot of technology and adjusting over the last month, that there are going to be glitches sometimes. So just do yourself the favor and put that safety net under you and just get in the habit of following up on your opportunities and your transactions to just make sure you're not missing a comment or a document. Don't fully rely on those notifications to always come through for you. End of rant.
Time blocking.
Yes, but I will highly suggest, is this video being recorded, Megan?
It is being recorded, but do you need me to stop recording? I'm just kidding.
I don't know, should I? Just kidding. So you guys, I will highly suggest and I challenge you to go back and rewatch this video, go back and rewatch the first video that we did last Friday if you guys are questioning about how to create an opportunity. And again, use those videos that Ashley and Megan have on their YouTube channel. They're super helpful. Even the videos that I just mentioned in Docusign, they're very step-by-step. They really dumb it down basically to make it a lot simpler. So that way it's easier to understand.
So continuing with this whole challenge thing. So I want to encourage you guys this week. So your challenge before we meet again next Friday is going to be you should already have all of your pipelining opportunities if you're following the series and the steps. If not, do that one first. Then create a test room for your opportunity. And then at least add or play with a couple documents, okay? So I'll say that again. If your pipeline is not already in opportunities, get rid of that whiteboard, get rid of that Excel spreadsheet, get that in opportunities. Next, create a test room for one of those opportunities, and then upload a couple documents as well, okay? And start playing around in Docusign. That is your task, that is your challenge, your mission. Accept it.
Yes, I don't know if it's supposed to rain or continue raining, but if it is, you're locked inside, you're gonna be locked into Command, you're gonna be locked into Docusign. So if you do have questions, feel free to ask us, but again, please use those help videos, as well as if you do have a comment or a question, add it to your internal Facebook page. So add it to your Jack's Beach Facebook page or your Southside page, because if we can't answer it, maybe one of our agents can help as well.
Ashley, so your last name might be difficult for some to spell. Could you leave it in the comments so they can search you on YouTube, please?
Yeah, also, I was just going to clarify, any videos that Megan uploads on her YouTube, I put it in a playlist on my YouTube. So like vice versa, her and I are still having the same information in both locations. So whether you look under her YouTube or my YouTube, it's all there. And I will type my very long last name. That will not be
I before E except after C.
One day it'll be Lynch and it will not be as miserable as Spiegelhalter.
That's funny.
All right, guys, if we don't have any more questions, thank you so much. I can't see how many, or I guess I can now. So there's 49 people, so thanks for hanging out with us.
There was 57, so.
But thank you. Start learning. We're challenging you. And I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend.
And after you're done reviewing this all day, join your respective office happy hours.
Yes.
We'll need a drink after it.
Yes. Get frustrated, break it, break Command, break Docusign, and then join your office for happy hour, because we'll all need it. It's Friday, so we can celebrate our wins and our successes with Docusign and Command.
Woohoo!
Woo-hoo.
Awesome. Thanks, Jana, so much. You're the bomb.
Thanks, guys. You guys are the bomb.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.